Bitch, I'm sliding over cars while I shoot.
Yeah.
They call me Tom Cruise. Bitch, I'm
Bobby
Bobby with that
Bnast, dude.
tool. By the way, we're recording.
Oh,
Should we start?
You want me to do like an intro or?
Nah, I guess we'll just introduce ourselves. Oh, wait, no, there was something that sounded weird at the beginning there.
just fucking speak, honestly.
Yeah, okay, we're all good.
Yeah.
I think there might be a little bit of an echo.
Okay,
Hold on.
let me turn down the volume. How about now?
Well, I guess let me see. See? Yeah, we're good.
Okay, yeah. So these are good levels.
Sure.
Hello, IPA fans out there. We're doing a draft analysis. You already know who it is. It's your boy Bnast. My
Wait,
guest.
Does Josh say hello, or does he? What does he say?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Does he sound like that big of a bitch when he says hello?
You're gonna have to check that. You're gonna have to find out for yourself, bro. You're gonna have to.
IPA fans out there.
You're gonna have to find out for yourself on your own time. Anyway, my
You
guest.
have to toss a view, maybe toss a like to Ace Trainer Josh.
You're really already gonna plug him.
Why would I
That's
toss like
crazy.
with this draft.
Anyway, okay, getting started. I'm Lewis. That's Zenon. It's not big, I guess.
All right. So
Okay.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna review the Magyar drafts. We got 16 teams. You see them on my screen. Start with Michael.
It's not really a review as much as it is first impressions. I mean,
we're just gonna be roasting all of them. I wouldn't be surprised if like not a single one of us says anything good about any of these drafts.
I'm a very positive person. I'll start off the bat by saying,
shit, honestly.
I think a solid guy, and I don't think if he could commit war crimes, he would. Let that be.
Okay, well, starting with Michael's draft, I'm of the personal opinion. I talked to Bnast about this like days before the draft started. Like, I don't even understand because he showed me like an older draft. I don't understand why these people are so hype on Zorora. I think it hits like a noodle. I don't think it's good at all. Like, it has a bunch of things that like kind of does well on paper, but in practice it doesn't do shit. Especially with no Z moves. Like, I feel like it's not gonna break anything with like any defensive backbone. It'll just be good against like. It'll be really good against like Tristan. Shit.
So I mean I agree in the fact that without Z moves it's over. I think last gen it was a top tier draft prospect. I think it is. I think it does. It has.
It's just set variety and speed. That's it.
It's super fast, which is especially in this meta where most people like don't have any fast shit. It's super fast, but at some point it has diminishing returns on speed. But it's like, and it has a great moveset, but that's kind of where it ends this gen. Without Z moves, it can't take advantage of the moveset at all. So not at all, but as well. So it's not as like, I mean, it's kind of a slightly. It's like a better version of what's the electro type that got introduced this gen? Both like they do very similar roles. In fact, have very similar movesets. One does have fighting coverage, which I guess is a big difference. But I mean, other than that, it's just like 2 points better than a bolt hunt, I'd say, because it does everything a little bit better. But I don't know if it's number one overall. I think overall ethos of the team, he's got Haxorus and Blastoise, which are both spinners.
Haxorus and Blastoise on Veil is pretty like terrifying.
Vile, absolutely vile.
So he's got three screen setters.
For a second, I thought you were correcting me and saying it's pronounced vile, but
no.
I was about to fucking roast you.
We're in agreement.
Yeah. So yeah, that sounds fucking horrifying.
He has three setters, right? Zatu gets screens, Bug, whatever, or Beetle gets screens.
Yeah. So I don't really see him like building anything that isn't Veil or screens though. Like, honestly, with these Pokemon, like, what is he gonna do? Like,
I mean,
webs. He could do webs.
What I would say is
webs with what? Like, he doesn't really have webs abusers.
You can use Malamar to block defog, right? And then you can use like CB Haxorus.
Yeah. I think his win cons lie solely in like 3, which is not a great format. He's really putting a lot of eggs in Haxorus, Zeraora, and I guess Blastoise. Maybe like I don't know.
So volley.
He's putting a lot of eggs in like the opponent just having a shitty like one of those Pokemon matchup and just like getting Veil up and just winning.
And this, I guess we should say this before we move on to any other teams. I think the general, motif of this draft is there's a lot fewer Mons. It's a lot harder to build a balanced defensive team and balance. A primary example of it's going to be extremely hard to play any defense with this. I don't think as Mon and the team gets a recovery move besides Orbeetle does and Xatu does. So his two psychic types, I guess, are his
And any of Savali can be like a Gloomon, just like randomly pick some glue typing that you need.
Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, he can't take hits effectively. He doesn't have any
he's 100%
active recovery. He doesn't have any active recovery.
Every game.
So he's really going to kind of be reliant on screens into Sweeper or screens into Choice Banded Mon. He also doesn't have a lot of special presence. You could pretty much bring physical walls versus him and then something to check Blastoise, and you're going to be set. I mean, his other special threat is kind of, I guess, maybe Ninetales, but even that will never ever hit hard. So I mean, you just have to bring something that can check Blastoise and then make everything take physical hits, and you're pretty good.
I have 2 points I want to make, and then I think we can move on. One, Lou, how would you rate the claim that Zeraora isn't even the best electric type on Michael's team?
Just call it Zeraora.
Zeraora. What is it? I call it Zeraora.
It's Zeraora. Or like Zeraora, I guess is fine.
It's Zeraora.
Zeraora sounds like, I don't know. Anyways, keep going.
Boys getting ready. I think Morpeko is way underpriced for what it was. I don't think I would definitely take Zeraora.
Zeraora.
I would definitely take Zeraora over it. But I think Rapid Spin is really good this gen. Rapid Spin, parting shot,
especially a Rapid Spinner that hits ghosts.
Yeah, it's a Rapid Spinner that can threaten ghost types. It has probably two ways of getting momentum. It has probably Volt Switch and parting shot. Rapid Spin into parting shot's like a pretty good combo. You spin and then they bring in their counter and then you can get a fast parting shot out. I mean, that's like a decent strategy. It also means that you don't usually get set up on for trying to get spin. So I think Morpeko has a lot of things you can do, but I mean, it also doesn't really feel like it does much on this team. I mean, is it a secondary electric type and then also a spinner? If he is using it as a dark type, I mean, it gets like two usable dark type moves and one that works like half the time. So,
but you can run it with run it with Protect to make sure you get the typing you need.
Yeah. I mean, but there's obvious downsides to that as well. If they know you're going to protect every other turn. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to abuse Protect.
Yeah. Especially, if this is a spinner and then you have to choose between going for your move or spinning away rocks, stuff like that. But I think it's a good mon. I'm not 100% sure what its role is going to be on this team. I mean,
it seems kind of out of place. It's just like a random
because it doesn't.
I want a spinner.
It doesn't. I think the only thing it could be really useful for is, it takes away. Honestly, I will say that he has a decent spinner in Blastoise. He has the constant hazard threat of Xatu, and he has a decent might be a stretch. He has a usable spinner in Morpeko. So a lot of people are going to really struggle to get rid of hazards, but I think Michael better prepared for that than
he's
most.
Going to be fine in that regard, totally.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Joao?
Yeah, well, you had another point.
I was just going to say Orbeetle is a pretty decent setup mon with like agility, weakness policy, stored power. That could be a cool set on Bale.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I don't know. That sounds super like gimmicky and niche. Like it might work. But everything's got to go your way to pull that shit off, for it to actually do something. I feel like.
Yeah.
I think Mike's confident enough to engineer the circumstances for that.
If he has screens up, I can kind of understand it, but I think you need another move for that. I mean, I don't know. Okay. I understand, but I think he's really reliant on sweeping. He can't long game. He's not even that good at just playing like switch attack, switch attack, switch attack. He's kind of relying on setting.
He's 100% going to be just clicking buttons and throwing shit at opposing Pokemon. It's just screens. means that's just the nature of it. Just fucking click attacks, sack something.
All right, but move on. Joao.
Yeah, Joao is. I'll say this before y'all could speak your piece. Joao is my second favorite team, just based off aesthetics alone.
What the fuck?
No, I just like the way it looks on the page. I don't know. It's also good, but yeah, go off.
Oh, that random ass Quagsire is bothering me.
Nah, that's my boy.
No, that Quagsire, I have no idea why it's there, what it's doing.
Joao
Confusing me.
Joao is in my top 3. I think for draft. I really like his draft. I think it's not too.
I do think his first 5 that he got, I think are pretty good.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think
he has 3 psychic types for no reason, like at all. And I have no idea why his Quagsire is there, but I think his first 5 were very good picks.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. I hope he isn't just using Quagsire to complete a fire, water, grass court.
Yeah, I fucking hope so too. That would be a horrible.
Quagsire is like barely a water type.
Yeah, especially when the other two types in that core are like super offensive Pokemon. I guess Celebi is flexible, but like fucking Quagsire is just like it's just such a stark contrast. It just wouldn't really work.
So he has Court Change and then Defog. What's it called? Sigilyph? Does Sigilyph get Defog?
I never use it. I don't know. I never use defog on it anyway.
I think
like Life Orb sets of move.
I think this team is more reminiscent of a team like last gen, where it does look like it could be a balanced team, and he might be able to bring defense, but for the most part, it's going to be an offense team. I mean, unless he's planning on using.
I think most of the teams here are going to be pretty offensive most of the time.
Yeah. I think I have one of the few, maybe Jarrett, have one of the few exceptions to that.
You've got Pharaoh picks.
Yeah, we got
Do you guys think Joao made a mistake in getting triple psychic? Was that an oversight?
Yeah. Okay. I don't really know why it's there.
I am sure he could have had a better pick than the majority of those. I think now that there's no pursuit, it's not that big of a deal.
Psychic spam is a pretty common type to spam, but usually you run it with fucking Psychic Surge, which is obviously not here in this team.
If I had to guess, I'd say that he thought that Celebi is a good mon and a good second round pick, and then he got to needing a fairy. No good fairy types left by round whatever that is.
Well, Gardevoir doesn't really count as a fairy because that doesn't even resist dark.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it's just the dragon, but he's not even. He fucks up dragon with the rest of his team pretty bad, so it's not even that necessary. And then he said that he wanted a flying type, so he also picked up Sigilyph, remaining flying type. So I think it feels like, and those all function. I mean, Gardevoir is not a good fairy type. It doesn't check dark. It has a lot of weaknesses.
It doesn't switch into dark, but it definitely checks. Like you can force a dark type out for sure.
That's better. That's than what I was saying.
Yeah.
But in Sigilyph, I mean, isn't really too hindered. I mean, by being psychic. I guess it just doesn't check bugs as well. But I mean,
Sigilyph has a lot of overlap with Gardevoir. Unfortunately, like they have very similar coverage. Yeah.
I feel like they just don't really do anything to help each other. So it's like, what's even really the point?
Yeah, I am 100% sure that at least the Quagsire and the Sigilyph may have had better picks that he could have taken at the time. You know.
Wait. I mean, Alcream never even got taken. I feel like that would have been a better pick than Gardevoir.
Alcream is hella overpriced. I can understand wanting to stay away from that because
that seemed like the consensus that most people believed Alcreamy was overpriced, so they avoided it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think with how many points we all have, maybe wasn't worth tiptoeing around that. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, I believe. I mean, Golisopod was still around when he drafted Quagsire. I mean, I would have taken that over Quagsire to just kind of fit his team.
100%, yeah. Actually, Golisopod would have been really good on that team, I think.
It would have fit his team really well. It would have given him some stronger priority. I mean, he ended up
spikes too, which would be really good.
Yeah, an extra hazard and then some actual, another mom that could actually still function on offense like the rest of his team. Because Quagsire. The majority of
no idea what that Quagsire is doing.
Offense, if you plop down a Quagsire, you're not doing anything. You're not killing anyone. So it's kind of a momentum set. But I do think that his first 5 picks were among the strongest first out of anyone. They're super potent picks. But he kind of stumbles across the finish line, it feels.
Should we move on? Should we move on to Rye? Unless you guys have any final thoughts on Joao.
No, I just hate the Quagsire. That's my entire thing.
For sure.
I really like his team, but I think at the end it falls apart a little bit. But I mean, what is he really missing? He doesn't really have too many. I mean, if he was running court change, then grace each week. But other than that, he has no hazard control.
No dragon.
Yeah, he has no dragon. His fairy type is not the best at being a fairy. I think Aegislash is super good, but I mean, I think it can definitely be played around this gen way easier.
Aegislash's stab combo isn't that threatening offensively.
Yeah, but I mean, I think for the most part, his team has a lot of models that are threatening. There's a lot of models that can run different sets. Has a lot of, can either sweep or just hit hard off the bat. But I think, he fell apart a little bit at the end. He doesn't really cover all the bases he needs to. But that's that. Let's move on to Rye. Like the bread.
So Rye's got the big boy, the big metal boy.
I have no idea what Melmetal does, like, at all. Like, I didn't play any
Me neither. But I've played a couple random battles, and it always is a massive threat in those. So that is that.
Chronon was taken very late, and I don't really know why, honestly. I think Chronon's, like, really good.
Yeah, that was definitely a steal by Rye.
I think it was just, people.
We'll call it new toy syndrome.
Yeah.
People overlook the fact that Crawdon actually did get some new stuff to play with this gen. Close combat being, forefront of my mind.
The thing about it is, like, I don't even think the new stuff benefits it that much because, like, it's not like Crawdon has trouble hitting steals or anything like that in the first place. It's just that Crawdon's, like, so good.
And knockoff is better with no Z moves. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm going to take us back to Melmetal real quick because I think, at least how I view it, that's the most important one on the draft. I mean, obviously steel type's important for every core, but, like, this seems like a lot of his drafts can be, kind of dependent on this. I think it's really good. I don't think it's too one-dimensional. I think it's really scary. I think it hits like a fucking truck. It's got, I guess, I don't know if you know, it's got a 72 base power, but hits twice, so that's like
Double Iron Bash.
Yes,
Dab.
140 base power stab with a 30% chance to flinch. But you're not going to flinch in it. Wait, is it flinch or para?
Flinch. It's
Okay.
very slow though.
Para wouldn't make any sense.
But he has two trick room setters, right? So he could easily get
unless
flinches
he is
off.
a trick room team, which I guess Crawdon.
Oh, he is wishy-washy too. Dang.
Yeah, his trick room angles are good.
Kind of scary, yeah.
So I do like his team because he has a couple of 2-mon synergy cores and some more team-wide stuff like trick room. He also has grassy terrain Hitmonlee in case he wants to run an unburdened set, as well as Hitmonlee just being a good mon and a good spinner. He can run grassy terrain, unburdened. He's got wish support. He's got balance typing. He's got good cores.
He's kind of pigeonholed. He only has one stealth rocker. But I mean, Runerigus is good, but like.
No, I think Runerigus is pretty fucking terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I got Mudsdale, and before I got Mudsdale, I was thinking like, dang, like what ground rocker do I want? And I looked at Runerigus,
Runerigus.
And I looked at that, and I was like, Then I looked at Golurk, and I was like, dang, Golurk is like 3 points, and I feel like it's literally better than this thing. This thing's a piece of shit, I'm not gonna lie.
I think when most people see Runerigus, they kind of know what's going on, and it's not too threatening. I mean, he got it pretty early. He got it not even that early.
I think he got it even too early still.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I mean, I think for what he's using it for only one specific thing. Occasionally Trick Room, and
always rocks.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand if you want to draft a mon that only does those two. Obviously, you go with like Runerigus, but I mean, I don't know. I like versatile mons in draft format, and Runerigus doesn't quite fit that bill. But I mean, it's got other sets. But I think overall the draft's pretty well-rounded.
I just want to talk about Noivern because Noivern is so fucking good this gen. Like, there's so few flying resists or steals or like at all in the first place this entire gen. There's fucking like on my team I have Jirachi and Rotom, like normal ass Rotom. Those are I guess I have Lantern shit. But like what I'm saying is like even in UU right now there's like like Noivern. People are talking about making Noivern S and nothing else because there's just so few fucking flying resists this gen. Like this whole ass gen is fucking nothing. And I wanted Noivern so badly because it's pretty flexible. Like you could be like a more utility slot, or you could be like specs, pivot, etc. I wanted it so bad, but this fucking piece of shit asshole took it from me.
Yeah.
Also boots are broken.
Noivern gets defog, Rotom gets defog. Hitmonlee gets rapid spin.
Yeah.
So he's chilling there. He only has one hazard setter, but I think he has a lot of immediate. I think he has ways that he could kind of pull off a sweep through Unburden or Trick Room, or some Dragon Dance or Swords Dance. I think his team's well rounded. There's not a lot to dislike about it. Each of the mons are individually good. I guess I'd like to know how good Melmetal is before I could pass more judgment on the team. Because if Melmetal is super good, then I think he's gonna have one of the top teams. If Melmetal kind of is more of a Reggie Steele situation where even though it has great stats and obviously this Melmetal hits hard, even though it has great stats, it still kind of isn't able to do too much because just the nature of being pure steel and how a lot of mons have coverage to hit you super effective and stuff like that. But, we'll see how that goes. But I think his team's going to be really good, one of the top.
You guys want to do Cursi now?
Yes.
Cursi's team's fucking terrifying. The Rotom Wash, Dragapult core is really fucking good. I think the main thing is that he didn't get an electric immunity. I think that sucks a lot, but he started off with like a really good first 2 rounds, I think. So
I think this Cursi is another prime example of someone who definitely will not really be able to play long game in his games. None of his. He's got Mandibuzz.
He's got Glisspod, Mandibuzz, Bronzong. That's like a pretty good defensive backbone
too. That's a good pivoting core. But like, I don't know for the. I think if the turn counts get above like 40, I think he'll be at like 0 health in almost mons.
If you look at the, I guess they don't have like recovery outside of like leftovers and shit, but. I don't know. Compared to a lot of these teams, I think he's just the main thing is if you have something with like Volt Switch, I think you kind of just shit on this guy, like because like you said, he doesn't have that much sustain or like that much bulk. He does have some, but it's really easy to just pivot around this guy infinitely if you have something with Volt Switch. Like it doesn't even have to be like a breaker. Volt Switch doesn't have to be doing damage. That team will basically be on its heels the entire time unless he like plays it perfectly.
Yeah. So the reason electric types are worse this gen is only because a lot of them can't hit electric counters, but he doesn't have any electric counters, so all electric types versus him are like just as good as they were last game. If that makes sense, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I think Dragapult is another mon that has capacity to be the best mon in the format. It's my pick for the best mon in the format this gen. It can use like every good move in the game for no reason.
Is sick too. I think it's so cool looking.
It can destroy most cores. I got Ferropeck, and it's gonna take. It kind of beats both of those. And then I have to run Gigalith and like Incineroar, and I got to dedicate them all to trying to check it, and they all lose to different sets. So it can really do anything, no matter how good your defensive core is. But yeah. And he has Dragapult can run any set, but that's kind of the most versatile mon on his team. All of his other mons are pretty one-dimensional. You can run maybe Rotom and shift gear.
Rotom is pretty.
You can run offensive or kind of pivot, both pivot.
I think Cursi's team's strength is gonna be like mostly just hit and run tactics. Like you're gonna use Serena, Mandibuzz, Rotom to pivot into Dragapult, Toxtricity, Surfetched, and then just get off like big damage where possible. and then try to clean up with either sun or or setup.
One thing that's pretty depressing with that though is his rocker is like he's one rocker and his rocker is really
Oh yeah, so passive.
His rocker is very passive. So
Bronzone
every
just
time,
gets
every time
owned.
that comes in, he's gonna be on his heels and trying to figure something out.
For hit and run, it's important to have hazard. So I think Galissapod is good spike setter. It's obviously good spike setter for that kind of game, but spikes aren't that important for hit and run where you really just kind of want to chunk everything immediately, and it doesn't really. You're not gonna have the time to set up multiple layers. But if you ever put in
a bunch of breakers, outside of DD Dragapult or something, I feel like he doesn't even really have win con.
He has the ability to get speed with what's it called, Toxicity, and he's got DD Dragapult. Other than that, he's just got to just beat, which might work, might not. I don't know. I think this gen. Well, if he had more than one rocker, I think it would work really well. But because a lot of teams have 1 to 0 hazard control,
I'm gonna push back and say don't sleep on Nasty Plot, Weak Armor, Mandibuzz. Carry on.
Oh shit!
You're right. Does it get Curse or anything?
No.
Yeah, but I don't think I think he's gonna have a harder time closing out games. It's gonna be more. I hope my mons can do enough damage before they get enough damage done to them, which I think is viable. I think he has a good shot. I think his draft allows him to do a lot of different things.
You guys want to do Tristan now, unless you guys have closing thoughts?
Quick, I think we didn't even mention this, but he's got a really ham-fisted Suncor at the end.
Yeah.
I'm so mad at him. He sniped Toxicity and Shiftry for me. I can't forgive him. Sorry.
I mean, that was literally his last pick. You had plenty of opportunities to get it.
Well, I also got owned on Sun 2 rounds earlier. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But I don't think that's gonna do too much. But I think for the most part, he got Galissapod super late, which I think is a super great pick for him.
Yeah, steal for sure.
But other than that, yeah, I think we can move on to Tristan. Which is a range.
Isn't he the only person with 9 mons or less than 10?
So he apparently has a very expensive mon, expensive draft, because a lot of people couldn't get rid of all their points that they tried. He got rid of all his points by bond number 8. So he's got a really expensive draft. He's got a rain team that is super weak to rain, which is hilarious.
Yeah, when your water resist is Pelipper, I think it bodes pretty poorly for you. Just saying.
So he has Thwacky as his Thwacky, Pelipper, and Barraskewda as his.
Honestly, I'm just ignoring Thwacky and Ditto. Every single mon up to it is fucking horrifying. I was looking at this guy's draft literally the entire time the draft was going on, and I was like, damn, that shit is fucking terrifying. I hope I beat this guy because his draft is fucking horrifying. There's so many threats, and he's gonna be 100% tied down to the HO. He has no room for any other type of comp.
I don't think Mew gets recovery and Pelipper gets recovery.
Vikavolt too.
Oh yeah, so I mean, yeah, it depends. If he runs hyper offense, he has to run Mew, one of the setup sets, or 4 attacks,
or spikes or something. Yeah.
My issue is Mew is that I remember drafting it and thinking I could use it for anything, but whenever I get into a game, I'd have to fully commit to either the rocks, defog, Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, I think he's really not using Mew to its
I think in a
potential really
because as offensive as this.
Because I really don't think Mew is that good on offense on HO at least.
It's not, and Mew is good because it can flex and do whatever. I mean,
there's so much utility, and there's just not really any room that you need utility for. You're just gonna be throwing your breakers at things.
Yeah, it's gonna be pigeonholed into either being his lone defensive linchpin, or
some weird pivots.
Yeah, or Dragon Dance / Nasty Plot. Because he has other options for rockers, so he's not gonna use it as rocks.
The reason his team is so threatening is because he's drafted every single offensive typing in the game. He's got fighting and rock; those are pure offensive typings. He got ice and ground. Ground has some defensive utility, but for the most part, pure bug and electric. I mean, those are that's pure offensive typing. He doesn't have
Shotgun Mamoswine Mimikyu is just such a fucking horrifying, like...
Yeah, that is straight up OU, like, offense.
It's
like,
terrifying
it's
offense.
so
It was
dope.
Gen 7 UU offense, basically.
Right.
If there's something that beats Barrascuda and is, like, fast, it can just sweep through his team. Because he doesn't have resists. If you could scarf most Mons versus his team and go completely unresisted on stab. I mean, that's... flying is at least one example. You could scarf any Brave Birder and go unresisted versus his team. Something like that. So there's a lot of things where you could just scarf a good offensive type and absolutely run through their team. He's got one ice resist in Barrascuda, so you can just scarf Pokemon.
Mamoswine's an ice resist.
Oh, you're right. Thick Fat.
Yeah.
That's true enough.
Fats.
Yeah. But for the most part, especially flying.
The fucking Ditto and Grass thing are just irrelevant to me, honestly.
Ditto, I don't think Ditto really fits in hyper offense.
It can, but I think it's...
But it's just to prevent you from getting counter swept, basically.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, he can use it as a water resist.
Yes, I think that's his only way of not losing to like Seismitoad or Mantine.
I was thinking of getting Ditto, but Ditto's really, really strong versus two archetypes, which is HO and Stall primarily. And I knew nobody was going to be building Stall or get drafting Stall in this. HO, that's a different story, but I don't know. I feel like it just wasn't really worth. Like, I'd rather get utility.
On that note, a lot of teams. So that is something that is worth noting, is that it does match up well with the board for the most part.
To some extent, yeah.
You guys want to do Jarrett?
Yeah, sure.
His draft is pretty solid.
Jarrett is my favorite team. I'm gonna come out and say it right now. Jarrett's my favorite team.
Your team fucking sucks.
I think he's my pick for number one as well. I think every Mon on his team has so much versatility that can do besides Cursi.
Besides the B too. I don't think the B has much versatility.
I thought I like Raibombi in this format. I used it a couple times. Its offensive sets are really kind of slept on. I don't know how much of a tax it got for getting Sticky Web, but it was like a pretty good offensive Mon before it got Sticky Web.
It had webs last gen though.
I know, but when I used it a lot Gen 7 before Ultra Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay.
Which is when it got, and it's a really potent setup sweeper, and mainly just, I mean, if you put Life Orb on it, coverage, and it has really good speed stat, so you can EV correctly, you chunk things. It's hard to like switch in. Especially because, Bug Fairy is surprisingly good offensive typing.
But if you have a steel type, I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly.
Yeah. So if you have a steel type, if you have a defensive steel type or a somewhat tanky steel type, you can shut it down. Especially now without hidden power, you can't do anything versus a lot of steel types.
It's also got Clefable too, so it's like, I don't know. Like,
Clefable, I think
I'd rather just use Clefable in like almost every situation unless I want to have a web steam.
Yeah,
or he could alternatively do like fairy spam, right? Like Clef as the wall breaker and Raibombi as the cleaner.
Yeah. He's also got water spam, which can be a little intimidating. I think Gyarados is scary.
Toad and Gyarados are both pretty good, yeah.
I think Durant is scary. I think
Durant is scary if it hits.
Yeah,
so it's not scary.
That's true. I think Blunder Policy Durant is going to be the new heat. You actually see everyone running that. Type null. I think he reached on that one. I mean, I think
that is an early type null right there.
Yeah, there's the thing you have to know about Jarrett. He, first off, wasn't Silvally already taken? Second off, Jarrett hates Silvally. He loves type null. You're gonna have to ask him about it, but like that's his thing. Like that's just fact.
I mean, type null's pretty cool looking, but like
it looks cool. I mean,
it is quite early.
It is very limited.
I mean, I got a rack round 4, so I kind of get it. Like, just because I like a rack, basically. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but I think overall he's got a really perfect balance of bulk. He can easily run a hyper offense team.
Yeah,
I mean,
his team is pretty flexible. Yeah.
He can
totally
turn the dial.
I think HO might be a little uncomfortable because.
But an offensive leaning balance team is totally in his wheelhouse.
At least bulky offense.
Yeah, BO for sure.
Absolutely.
And you can very easily switch the dial the other end to being a more stall defense warrior and to grind him out. You know, he can easily sweep. He's got what's it called? He can run SD Virizion,
CM Clef, DD Gyarados. Yeah. Rain Seismitoad.
Yeah. So I think he's got pretty much all his bases covered. He's got good resistances.
I also want to see Arctozolt do something this season. That's my wish.
I think Corsola is good, but I don't really know why you'd have it here since your only electric immunity is Seismitoad. Like, wouldn't you just want that as your rocker, like on most comps?
Yeah. I mean,
unless the other team just doesn't have an electric type, or like any electric moves. I mean, then that's fine, I guess.
Wait, does he have what's his spinner? Does he have a spinner?
No.
I mean, that's obviously a huge knock. I mean, especially for Gyarados and Ribombi and I guess Arctozolt. You should never run there. Having to run heavy duty boots each week is gonna suck. And I think his team relies on switching a fair amount.
Who's next on the docket?
Spoink.
Whoa! We just had a big revelation. You want to move on? He doesn't have a spinner. Well,
I honestly don't think he's like super hazard weak though. So
he's not super hazard weak, but
honestly, removal's like barely even that big of a deal. When boots exist, like who really cares?
Yeah, he can totally rely on just Boots Gara. Clef's already immune. Virizion is not like it resists rocks already. Yeah, the only mons that really get hurt by hazards are.
It really hinders his ability to run. Because I mean he can still do it. It's just a lot harder now. I mean because he has to dedicate certain item slots that every time he switches out he's taking additional damage. I mean I know personally I've got 2 Toxic Spikers that I would definitely like start to use to just wear down stuff like Gudra, and Cursol and whatnot. So,
yeah, no grounded poison type. That would be a good addition. He could probably supplement that later.
Have a grounded poison type.
Like maybe at one point he'll swap out Cursula for like Garbodor or something.
Something that could at least in some way help.
Yeah, because Garbodor would be dope. It would give him spikes. It would give him fighting resist still.
Because obviously he already has enough stats to run a defensive team. He already has a lot of mons that can kind of swing both ways.
Garbodor for Corsola would be good, yeah.
Yep. I agree. If you're listening, Jarrett, Garbodor for Ursula, week 3, do it.
Sure, let's move on to Spoink.
Spoink has a fucking pretty scary first 2, and the rest is like whatever. It's alright.
That's almost exactly what I'd say. But I'll let you go first.
It seems pretty like the first 2 are great, and then the rest seem kind of like he didn't really think that much about like what he wanted. I think Weezing's really good in general this gen. Also, he got Rotom-Mow pretty early. Is that pretty early? I don't know how many points.
That's a decent spot for Rotom-Mow.
A little bit of a reach.
Yeah. NDD, I don't really know what that's doing here, to be honest. At least, and then like Vanillix, Mantine. I feel like Mantine is super passive, just completely out of nowhere. And then it just doesn't really work with anything else. And then like Gallade, like the last like 5 mons just seem like they don't really do anything for each other and just like super random as fuck.
You go here, Brian. You go first.
So obviously, again, yeah, I like the Sand Core. Vanillix is cool because people really underrate how much it does with so little. Yeah, but just between Blizzard, Veil, Freeze Dry, Taunt, Explosion, like that's all you need. That just wins. Not wins, but like it really is like it's so much team support in like one slot.
All you need is a Vanillix and you win every game.
Yeah, Vanillix S tier for sure. I like Centiskorch. I toyed with the idea of drafting it at one point.
I like it too. I just don't really know. It all seems like very like he didn't think that much about like the rest of his team when he drafted the last 5 slots.
I think one of the reasons Centiskorch looks so enticing is because it looks like you can run a diverse amount of sets, but you have to run heavy duty boots on all of them.
That's the thing. He has 4 hazard removers. He doesn't even have to.
He has 3 defoggers and a spinner.
Yeah.
So I think that that's why I didn't draft it, is because I didn't. I was too.
Yeah,
I
if you
didn't-
if you don't have the proper team support, you do get pigeonholed.
I should say, kind of what Zen and the general consensus has been so far. I think his sand core is really threatening. More specifically, Excadrill, which obviously is his first round pick. It's supposed to be the most threatening. That's also really the only mon on the team I'm particularly scared of. I mean, Indeedee has like a pretty threatening spec set, but I mean that's like specs on psychic on like a worse Lele by a fairly large amount. Like most of his other mons can't clean up kills. His only mon above what 80 speed is like Rotom.
Rotom and Excadrill are his fastest, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. He doesn't ever eclipse 100 unless he's in terrain, unless he's in sand.
I'm really disappointed by two things. One, the fact that he even got Cofagrigus, it doesn't really advance things for him. Because he has no like real trick room attackers, other than Cofagrigus itself if it wants to set. And then he has no dragon to speak of.
Yeah, no dragon.
Don't have dragons. Dragons are fucking difficult to come by.
They're right. They are rare. They are difficult to come by.
So I think he should. I think what Zenon is saying that is true is that the first 2 months, even the first 3 months, he can carve out a pretty good identity. Rotom Mo, I can kind of understand, but he never really like completes what the team can't do balance for sure. There's like it can hazard remove, but it doesn't have any walls.
It's awkward as fuck.
Yeah, like very limited on walls. I agree.
He doesn't have enough speed or offense to run a hyper offense. He can't run a defensive set. I mean, he can he's like maybe bulky offense, but it's not even that. Some of his mons are just total momentum sucks. So,
yeah, the team is just so slow. I agree.
Like a lot of the resists aren't there for a lot of mons. Also, like Rotom Mo, what's it called? Wheezing. Those are some good resists. What's it called? Mantine too. But then the rest of his team, I mean, they're not really offensive mons, but they're definitely not defensive mons either. I mean, there's Cofagrigus, which is just by stats alone defensive, but I mean, it's not that defensive of a mon, realistically speaking. It's mainly just used as a bulky pivot. I mean, his team can't. I don't think he can really play the long game, and I don't think he's fast enough to play the short game either. I think he's going to have a hard time having a win con besides Excadrill. I think if Excadrill doesn't carry his team, which is definitely possible, Excadrill in sand and just Excadrill by itself is really scary. But if he doesn't by Excadrill, he's gonna have a harder time winning games. That's my diagnosis.
I agree.
What's the word on Marcop?
I don't know. My main thing with Marcop is he has no fairy resist, and he drafted Hydreigon and Keldeo as the first two. And he decided as a steal he wanted
Duraludon, which to a killed by every Moonblast in the game.
And then he also, it's probably fucking OHKO'd by some Moonblasts.
Yeah.
And then he decided the Sandaconda was the ground type he really just wanted so badly.
That's the thing. I was ranting about this. Sandaconda went before Hippowdon.
Sandaconda went before, like, everything. I don't even understand why. Like, look at this thing.
Gastrodon, too. He ended up getting Gastrodon and Rhydon. So I don't think he ever brings Sandaconda.
Yeah, why the fuck would you ever bring Sandaconda?
If you want a rocker, I think Rhydon's actually a better ground type rocker.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. Yeah.
Or Duraludon. Duraludon's a better rocker.
Yeah.
If you want just a general utility ground type, Gastro's way better.
Yeah, professional advice, Marcop. Drop Sandaconda.
I don't know under what circumstance you would ever bring it.
Drop it for fucking Garbodor. Bada bing.
Bada bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, get that young fairs. Yeah. I think okay, we ragged on him a lot of things. I think his draft's decently scary. I think Hydreigon's good. I think Keldeo's not bad.
Hydreigon, Keldeo, I mean, they're two very threatening ones. I don't think they did too much for one another. Actually,
I think they're just both good offensive mons. Where it's not like Spoink. The issue is, I mean, he clearly has a lot of things that can be win cons. He's got 2 shell smashers. He's got 2 really potent. He's got some speed. He's got really viable Scarfers, which is something we didn't really talk about with Spoink.
He doesn't have any pivots outside of Hydreigon, though.
That's what he's finding. he doesn't lack. He doesn't have really a great way to get momentum rather than playing.
Yeah,
well.
I feel like, and he doesn't really have the tools to make like a good HO either. Like he just has a bunch of threats, and you have to have some sort of like even like offensive utility to make like a good hyper offense.
But I
feel like he has a bunch of threats that like are good on their own, but don't really do anything for one another, and don't. And then just like a bunch of worthless ground types. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of his first 3 mons are really, like if I were to see any of those mons on an opponent's draft, I would immediately think I get a significant amount of prep time to these mons. I think the 3 of them can individually be like kind of team wreckers in kind of unique ways, but they're just the kind of unique mons that you have to prep around. I mean, if you don't prep around Togekiss and they bring like a specific set, that can fuck you up. That can ruin your day, or at least cripple half your team. But I think it falls off with the 4th and 5th pick. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to bring those mons. I mean, Duraludon doesn't do anything.
Duraludon, I think he'll bring on if he makes like HO. I think that'll 100% be his rocker over the other ones.
Rocker over Rhydon. I guess I could see, but like it doesn't.
If he brings Sandaconda once, I will be quite surprised though.
I mean, Duraludon is not going to be his offensive dragon. It's not going to be his resist to like grass or anything. I mean,
fucking if Marcop plays against Jarrett and wins, I will fucking shit 27 bricks and eat them. Like there's no fucking way he's like Jarrett has 2 fairies. If I was Jarrett, I would just bring both those fairies and nothing else, and I would win.
Rybombi's faster than his entire team. Expect yourself into Moonblast, you can probably win.
He only has one thing with priority too. Like Rabombi can unironically get 1 Quiver Dance up and possibly win like really early in the game.
Yeah, you need Rock's Chip on Togekiss, and you're like pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
But that's that. I think we spent a disproportionate amount of time shitting on this team to how good it is. I think it's better. I think it's better than some of the teams we've shat on previously.
Josh's.
I think it's...
Hey, we're gonna get to Josh in a minute. We gotta do commonly first. You want to do commonly?
Yeah.
Commonly, apart from Dazzling Gleam Gengar and Rotom Frost, gets 6-0'd by Como, which is cool.
Commonly is like, I don't know. It's so weird. Like I really wanted Corviknight. Like I feel like there's so many things you could do with Corviknight. And he just.
And you can't
I feel like of all the offensive threats you can get second to Corviknight, that can like use Corviknight as a pivot to get in, or like use Corviknight as something you could just like blanket check something that forces an offensive threat out. I feel like Gengar's like one of the ones that's not that good with it.
I think you can do the Spoink test and look at his team and think of like what mons are you like. I say like viable win that can really like mess up your team.
He also seems to not have like really stuck to an idea of what he wanted for the team. Like it looks like he just got a bunch of stuff that look cool to him. Yeah. He also has 2 trappers, which is kind of fucking horrifying, but I don't know.
Which don't do anything, by the way. He's got nothing that wants anything Gothic. I mean, what's Gothic only been a trap?
I think.
Type?
Well, I think you can use like Goth and Dugtrio to eliminate steals for Corviknight. Maybe I don't know.
Steals for Corviknight, I think is the biggest thing. But even that, Corviknight is kind of a counter to steel types for like.
Yeah, doesn't Corviknight learn Body Press and Curse? Yeah. Probably sees the steal type as fodder.
I don't know what else he trap like.
I don't know. And maybe he uses that. He picks and chooses what are the Corviknight counts are. Yeah. That's a possibility.
Does he have a rock?
He's got 3.
He's fucking Colossal. He's fucking
Barbaracle and Dugtrio.
They're all pretty bad rockers. I think Colossal.
Dugtrio is a horrible rocker. It's just like a suicide lead, but you're not going to run a suicide lead on this team at all.
He can run a suicide lead. He can run. I mean, Colossal.
Actually, I guess he can with like if he does like Barbaracle, Gengar, Rotom Frost,
Passimian.
Yeah, that'd be decent. That'd be a decent.
And then like CB Lax maybe.
He at least has a Volt Volturn core, which is good for his team especially.
Oh yeah, Volturn with Choppers is nice.
He's got Volturn with Trappers. He's got Volturn with at least one sweeper. I would have liked to see more sweepers on this team. I mean, he's got one like Shell Smash user, and I guess Curslack.
His electroimmunity is indeed Doug Trio, though.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, to say the least. Appleton, I don't really know what Appleton does, to be honest.
Appleton's basically an electric community when you think about it.
Appleton's pretty...
I mean, it eats electric moves, but it doesn't stop like volt switches from getting momentum. It's like the main thing with an electric community.
I think, I thought I would dislike his team more than I did. But I do think that at least, I said his Volturn was usable. He has Rotom Frost, which is not a good Volturn mon.
It's fine. It's a fine Volturn
mon. It
mon.
can do its job.
Stab Bolt Beam is pretty terrifying.
Shouts out.
With Bnast too, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It got buffed this gen, I guess, for what that's worth. Especially with heavy duty boot. But, I'm not. A lot of his team isn't too threatening. I think Gengar might have been a mispick here. There was a lot of good ghosts in this gen. There's no reason to take just kind of the best of them that early. He's arguably not even the best. It's not that. I mean, he's good and strong and can nasty plot, but I mean, that's it.
You want to do Josh?
Do any of you guys have any extra thoughts? We went pretty quick over his. Real quick, I guess I'll say. I mean, I could see Common. I don't know how good Commonly is. I've never faced him before. I could see him being handled pretty well and getting some good results. I think I think there's something under the surface there that can be really threatening with two Trappers, Volturn, Corviknight. I think Barbaricle's pretty scary on this team. I'm gonna be real, but I mean, if he had better sweepers, I'd be more entitled. But yeah, let's move on to Josh. Josh.
Hold up 1 second. Josh, aka Marlene, aka Brawly, aka Marshall, aka what's the other fighting type gym leader?
Wasn't there one in the last game? There was one in the last game. Oh my god.
Josh, I don't know you, but you're a fucking idiot. Were you on crack for the past 3 days? I don't know what you were doing with this draft. I think you have 3 fighting types. You don't have a single flying resist.
AKA Bruno.
B.
You literally got a combo and was and you your team is so offensive, but then you just have a random ass Sylveon. I guess that's gonna be specs most of the time.
Again with the flying resist, right?
Yeah. That's what I said. He has no flying resist and 3 fighting types. I mean, I guess Beware can be a flying resist because it's fucking fluffy.
That's not a hurricane resist.
and then Pile Swine Diggers would be core. That's pretty nice. I think Diggers is a really good pick, but I don't really understand drafting Pile Swine Diggers be back to back. I feel like you don't really get anything out of it.
He really likes Piloswine. That's a thing.
Josh, you know I love you, and I will never ever count you out. I would not be surprised if you wanted to.
I'll count you out. I think if you make playoffs, I don't know.
I am interested to know your thoughts behind this draft, but this is the most hyper offensive draft we've seen, but also there's a Sylveon.
No. It's definitely not the most hyper offense one we've seen. Is either Tristan or Michael. Probably Tristan.
Yeah,
definitely Tristan.
This is by that I mean this has the least chance of running a defensive. Any defense.
Yeah, this is BO without the B.
He doesn't have.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's being generous. He's got
both, but he doesn't have.
It's like hyper offense, but slow.
I don't know.
It's so weird.
He's super weak to flying. He's super weak to fighting. Given he has actually 3 resists, each of them have the physical, a freshly made meatball.
Are you using anti-Italian tropes? What the heck, man?
This dude's spamming "I love Brazil" in chats earlier.
I think he does have a threatening offensive team, though. I think if he brings a Alolan Persian every week and just parting shots into one of his sweepers, then that can be kind of threatening. And he's got What's his best speed tier version? Like 115? That sound right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad, especially because there's not that many fast shit this gen. It's faster than everything on a Mark. Is Keldeo 108 or 116?
It's faster than Keldeo.
Yes, I mean, it is faster than a lot of other teams. You know, Flank Stomper. What's that thing actually called? Cobalion is also pretty fast, but I think he lacks some crucial things. One of those
no backbone at all, and there's only a few fast things that like aren't even that threatening. Like Cobalion without Z moves, like third round is kind of crazy to me actually. Like without I was thinking about getting Cobalion because I was just like really struggling on what like once Mammoth Spine was gone, I was like, all right, there's no offensive rockers left. And I was looking at Cobalion, but I was like, nah, I'm just gonna prioritize Lucario. And like because without Z moves, Cobalion is so not threatening. It literally has the same attack stat as fucking Amoonguss. It's like
it also definitely isn't a steel type. It's a fighting type that's not weak to like psychic.
Yeah, no, it does have its own like defensive utility just because of its stats. But it doesn't have the defensive utility that most other steel types have. Like it doesn't check dragons or psychic types, etc.
So I mean, obviously we have to mention his hazard control is Defog Charizard. That can't learn Galarian Egg moves. So it's I think it got something important like from Galar this gen. But regardless, it's bad. I mean, you could really freely set up hazards versus him, and they do a fair amount. To like, I mean, spikes is like really
Spikes,
annoying.
yeah, spikes do work. His whole team's grounded.
His whole team's grounded. I mean, toxic spikes. I mean, he does have a grounded poison type, but that can really fuck up things like pillow and.
His grounded poison type is frail as fuck. It's pretty much just offensive.
You can't even.
It doesn't have many opportunities to come in and get this toxic spikes off.
I think he also. I mean, I think with he as few resistances as his overall team has, he's just gonna get blown back. And you can't lack a flying resist. Like he and Tristan are both of this. I mean, there's a lot of strong flying types and strong flying type moves, and just scarfing something into either close combat or into Brave Bird, or in my case, Halu, just destroys like every mon in his team. I mean, like I don't know how many times you think you can switch a Roserade or like I guess a Sylveon a couple times, but most of the time they're gonna take like 1.5 close combats, and then it's just. But that's that. Let's.
Alex.
You said.
Alex.
Alex's draft isn't bad. Again, it doesn't have a electric immunity, which is kind of weird. I think Kyurem's a pretty good pick. It gets shuffled between like Subaru sets and specs.
And now Dragon Dance.
Yeah, I think Kyurem is scary. I'm not 100% sure everything it can do yet. I know it can do a lot.
He doesn't have a rock. Oh yeah, he doesn't have a rocker, so never mind. This draft
or really a defogger. He has.
Yeah, Rotom Spin is the defogger, unfortunately.
I think Galvantula is actually like really slept on. Like I think people keep saying.
I wanted to get it. I was hoping it would get it.
I think Galvantula is a way better Weber than actually pretty much almost every Weber bar.
A Rockwanid.
Yeah, but bar a Rockwanid maybe.
I think it's a really good Weber. I should say.
And it can also function as like a breaker because its coverage is so crazy. And it has Compound Eyes Thunder.
He's really relying on Hatterene obstacle for hazard. Rocks do really hurt his team. I mean, his principal two threats
are weak to rock. Boots on fucking everything.
So,
gonna be running. I bet some of his comps are gonna have four mons of boots.
Where his best way of getting rid of hazards is defog. Running webs is obviously severely diminished. Because I mean, you're gonna have to choose. Do you want your Kyurem to be faster than things, or do you want your Kyurem to be healthy? And that's like that is a trade-off you have to decide. And but I think he's got a good bulky offense. He can definitely go defensive. He can definitely go bulky offense.
He's Umbreon Milotic, so yeah.
And Hatterene can kind of pivot around and go super offensive if it needs to. Kyurem runs a pressure subset that's really annoying. Stuff like that. Where I think he's got a balanced enough team multiple threats.
Again though, I think his pivots, like, he doesn't have his pivots aren't that good for getting, like,
once again, no electric immunity.
No extra immunity.
Yeah.
No rocks. The fact that he has no rocks is just like, I don't know, it's just a huge turnoff. Like, what are you doing?
He's got one ground resist. It's Rotom Fan. So we've already listed 2 things that Rotom Fan is crucial for. Oh, no,
Hey, Abominus no resist ground. What you mean?
It is. You're right. both weeks to rock, I might add.
Yeah.
And given, he's got. But Rotom Fan seems like it plays like a crucial part in this team's function.
Which is a horrifying prospect.
Which is not like what you would like.
Which is not the second last pick in your draft.
You don't want a Mon.
Like, it's gonna be on fucking every comp you have.
Yeah, you don't want a Mon like Rotom Fan to be crucial. As someone who's learned by having a really good draft that also kind of relied on Armaldo, that's a terrible idea, and it doesn't work, and will ultimately be your downfall.
We doing 3 thin?
Yeah.
I feel like I had something else. I mean, I feel like I just want to reiterate. I do really like Flame's draft. It's definitely up there for me, and I think it has a lot of potential, but it's kind of reliant on some of the low tier mods. Like
I like it if it had rocks, but it doesn't, so I don't like this draft.
The redundancies are oddly in like the big end. Well, I mean, not like bad redundancies. They just kind of like you could go without some, but the really like kind of crucial role filling mods are the bottom end, which is not what you want. You want the bottom ones that you need that you can bring around to do stuff.
I would like to mention he has good Trick Room option between Hatterene, Chandelure, and Escavalier. That's pretty solid. Anyway, 3 thin?
Sure.
3 thin doesn't have ground resist. And he has a Draco Soul.
Yes. I think I'll get the good out of the way. I think his first 4 picks are
fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm honestly pissing myself right now just looking.
I really wanted Grim. I think Grimmsnarl is maybe one of the most underrated mons in the draft, point wise. I think it's super good, but I think you don't get both dinos. You don't get both dragon dinos. I think they kind of become redundant, but I understand the point. Is they're both very threatening in their own way. They have a little bit of difference. I mean, in my opinion, nowhere near enough.
Fish is the way.
Yes. If you got Fish, you probably should have done that.
Yeah.
But I understand the sentiment that Fish is the best mon on your team, the way you have it set up. So you kind of want another. And I get that. I think it's not worth taking up a slot, but that's just me. I think that he never patches up any holes or cements what he's going to do. I mean, his team's slow. He has no resistances. He has no ways to win.
He has some resistances. I think Vaporeon, Vileplume, Doublade is like a really good, and a Powdon. Like those 4 can make like a really good. If there was like a flying type in that mix, I think that'd be like a really good balance, or be balance. I think it would actually be like incredible.
I think at the current state, his team can't function because ground is like the most. If not, one of not the most.
Powdon is his EQ switch, and it's just like.
Powdon's also what activates his win cons.
It's also what's bad is he relies on like BP Vaporeon to get in his breakers safely.
His team's slow.
When you have both the Draco things, I don't know, it's weird as fuck.
His fastest mon is Espeon, and Espeon's not like supported here. It's not like
the camp literally does nothing for you too. Like, why not just get a flying type?
When his team has so little speed, it clearly needs Sandrush to like work for his offensive mons.
Yeah.
To paralyze everything. So
I think versus offense, Sandrush and Doublade is a decent win con versus offense. But if he doesn't play it flawlessly, I think he's just gonna get run over, and he'll be on his heels pretty much.
Yeah.
Infinitely because of how slow his team is.
I mean,
because he just doesn't have any pivots, he's gonna have a really hard time getting momentum. Unless he just pulls off some crazy shit.
The reason Hyper Offense can function without resistances is because it's fast enough to outspeed things that might kill it. If you're slow and you can't live a hit to do damage back, then you're basically not a functioning mon. I think his team's too slow to be as weak to as many things as it is. I mean,
I think it's really just ground. Like I said, like Vaporeon, Doublade, Vileplume, and Hippowdon. That's like a really good defensive backbone. I think like pretty solid. I'm just like super high on Vileplume as the mon just because Strength Sap's fucking broken. Like I think it's like comparable to Amogus in some regards. Like obviously Regen is just fucking broken, like beyond broken. But Vileplume has like product uses over it, mainly being like better checks to shit like Dragon Dance Mon and shit because Strength Sap is so good. But,
I'm pretty bewildered by the fact that, like, of all the things you could have gotten to support Dracovish between, like, Rain and Webs, you chose Sand.
I mean,
like, Rain was still available at this point, and there were so many web setters available, and that's what he did. It's like, I don't know, wasted potential, don't you think?
I think his first couple picks, I think you should take out Dracosoul and put in a better secondary win con. But I get it. I think his first 4 picks all make a lot of sense and are the beginning of a really threatening team, and then he just completely ditches that motif for the rest of it and has a bunch of kind of nonsense mons that don't really help.
I think these guys just get rid of the Machamp for a flying type of some sort immediately.
He needs speed. He needs a lot of things. In my opinion, he needs better hazard control. He needs a ground resist. I mean, you can't not have it. That's my thought.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's me, guys. Go easy. No, I'm kidding. Own me. Destroy me.
This is another pretty slow team. I mean, there's two exemptions, which is enough.
3 exemptions.
The scariest threat. They get the scariest set I've ever heard. Oh, you're right. I forgot. Whimsicott's fast. I kind of don't count Whimsicott as a mon because it does like 2 things ever. But Ryan's gonna run that out in his set right now. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna keep that under the wraps for you.
Yeah, keep that under wraps.
He's got some scary sets that I know of that are a little scary. I think that his good mons are all slow, and his I don't know, and I feel like that's going to hold him back. Is that any mon that I would say is a win con is not above like base 80 speed, and he doesn't really have the bulk to support the rest of his team. Like Reuniclus works really well as a pivot, and it's super bulky and he can do a shit ton of damage. But I mean, it's like he doesn't have walls that he can set up. He has mons that can bring in and take a hit, and like his only wall is Avalugg. I mean, and I guess Jellicent, but Jellicent's fallen off. If you have, it ain't good. It doesn't have the stats to compete in Gen 8. I think it works well in like have good resistances, but I think when most mons can tech in Throat Chop, it's gonna get like fucked up. And that's my thought on that. Let's see what Zenit has to say about us.
All right, give it up for Zenit.
Man,
I actually have not the slightest clue. What do you think of Obstagoon as a second round pick, and why was I the most frugal draft? Hey, yo.
Real quick.
Did you not hear me that whole time?
Yeah, you went dark.
Oh, what the fuck? I was like trying to talk, and Lou was like just kept talking, and I was like, what the fuck, Lou? Like, shut the fuck up.
All right, yeah, Zen, what's the word?
I think Reuniclus and Obstagoon is like actually like a really is like a pretty cool start when you think about it, and then you just like followed it up with a bunch of like garbage. Like, I mean, all these mons can be decent, I'm sure, and you have a pretty good defensive backbone. I don't really know what Lou was talking about like the whole like you don't have walls. I think you have like a really good defensive backbone, especially like Salazzle and Whimsicott can even be pretty good defensive mons like because they have really unique typings. But Reuniclus and Obstagoon is such like you could make such a strong BO. Like you should have immediately gotten like maybe like a bulky pivot or like a reliable pivot in general, like a U-turn or Volswitch Mon, like pretty much immediate after that. I don't really know what the fuck you were doing with Jellicent. I think Jellicent ties in with like the typings well. Like it makes like a good like 3-way like defensive. Like I don't know, it kind of ties in with Obstagoon and Reuniclus pretty well in terms of like its typing. But I think you really, really, really need a better pivot on the team in general outside of like Whimsicott. Like I don't really know what Whimsicott's doing in the first place. It's just like a bulky ground switch, and I guess that's basically it. Salazzle's like decent. I don't really know why you got the Shuckle. I mean, I do know why you got it.
There's a long story behind that one.
No. I do know why you got it, and I actually think it was a better choice than like the other webbers that you could have got, because Steelix would be your rocker on webs outside of if you. So yeah, the fact that Shuck can run rocks and webs is pretty good, but I don't think you should even be running webs on this shit at all. Like, you basically have Obscure and then a bunch of like nothing else even abuses webs to like any extent.
Webs is like, Mons are probably too slow to even benefit from
Yeah,
webs.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's basically Obstagoon and then nothing else really benefits from it. And yeah, I don't know. Like, you have Avalug, Steelix, Jellicent. I feel like you're gonna have a really hard time making like.
It would be a better
like consistently making teams of 6 Pokemon that like gel with one another, like genuinely. Like you're gonna have like a 3-mon core that gels together, and then like a 3-man, and then like another one that like gels together well, but they don't really mesh together, like both cores. Because I don't know, like I don't really know what you're going for after the Unicles and Obscune, which I think is a really good start, but I don't know, you just need to pivot like really bad.
I think that's better analysis than mine was, for sure. I agree with that almost 110%. I think, and knowing Brian, his teams do always look. I mean, they always do. So I'm sure he will be able to make it work in some fashion. But I do really like the Obstagoon Uniclus core, and I think they both have. I think Uniclus is usually slept on Mon, and I think Obstagoon has. I was looking at my team, and I think Obstagoon fucks me up pretty bad.
Yeah, your Unix Obstagoon, you could probably make so many, like, just from there, like, with those 2 mons alone, there's so many different, like, BO or balance builds that could be so threatening with those things.
But I think what Zenon said is you didn't quite lean into them enough. There were better picks that could have supported them. How about you get some analysis of your team, man?
Yeah. I totally don't know what Lou's talking about. I was like, yo, my defensive backbone was lit, dog. Like, Steelix, Avalok, Jellicent, like.
I know you're running DD Steelix every week.
Yeah, you're right. Steelix is basically not part of the defensive core. It's just gonna be choice banded, Rockhead, Head Smash every week. Get owned. I don't know. I did want an electric type. I got sniped, and then later on I was like, oh, what if I did sun? And then that also got sniped. So I was like, well, this will have to do for now. I'd like to point out that I have the most points out of everyone in this draft remaining.
Yeah, because you got Ruthless first, which is like what, like a.
It's pretty cheap. It's lower end of like the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 12. Like, and it was your first round pick. And there's so many options, which is fine, because I think Obscure Uniclus is a really good way to start. You just kind of like flopped.
I'm also finally going to be able to use Sock, so I'm really happy about that.
I was really close to making my team name the Atlanta Sox. I really was.
Go Sox, baby.
Go Sox. Should we hit up Lou?
Sure.
Oh yeah, we're having fun now. We're pimping.
Lou's got Ferropex, so he's a fucking piece of shit.
Ferropex, GG's only.
Just be disqualified. He also has. I talked to Lou about his team like a little bit. I think Pinch Halucha is like a great core, but I think it really only works. I mean, I don't know about only works, but it works the best, especially like Pinch, which is like Spike, Memento. It doesn't really do that much else. Shit like that really only works on like HO. And there is no feasible way that this team ever results in a HO. I don't even know why this Weber is here, because there's no fucking way. Like, it's basically, what would a Webb's team or even like an offensive team even look like with this? Like SD Ferrothorn? Is that what you're gonna do? Fucking pussy ass bitch, idiot.
SD Incineroar, bro. SD Incineroar is good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think Incineroar is actually a really good.
Or like Flame Charge, Weakness Policy, Bulk Up.
Incineroar is such a good pick. Like, I think even like AV on the bulkier teams could be a really good pivot in unison with like Ferrothorn.
I think Incineroar really misses. Incineroar really misses Pinch Berries. It's still good, don't get me wrong, but like it misses like having that.
Yeah, Incineroar is really good on this team. One of your better picks, but I think it's just all over the place. Like, you have Ferropex, but you don't really commit to being fat, and then you have Halucha and Pinch, but you don't commit to having like an offense that like a good 6 for an offense. Like for me, I was I remember I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was 7 mons in, and I only had like 5 Pokemon that I knew would be like a really good 6 for like webs off like HO. So I was like, all right, this one like I have to make sure I get a 6. But you just have like I don't know, just like a few like Flygon, Incineroar, Hawlucha, Pinch, and everything else is just kind of awkward.
I think my main criticism is outside of Unburden, it's a little slow. Like it's really on the slow
Yeah,
end.
exactly. Yeah, that kind of meshes in with what I was saying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I do like Mr. Rhyme and Cursi. I think those are fun, and I want to see how you use them.
Mr. Rhyme is pretty cool.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes. Oh, spoilers!
Rhymes.
Spoilers! Stab. Lou, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to draft balance. That's my strategy for draft. And my Hawlucha pick, I would never draft Hawlucha, but this gen, I am working under the assumption that it doesn't even have to be an unburdened mon 90% of the time to be really effective. Obviously, like
so I guess you're gonna do like a balance and then like Scarf.
CB Hawlucha.
I feel like you're gonna be using Scarf Flygon like a lot.
Scarf Flygon probably a lot, realistically speaking. Yeah. Maybe like Banded Lucha.
It's basically your only speed control outside of Unburden.
They both have U-turn. Lucha gets like great moves now, and Pincurchin is mainly just like I'm gonna bring like 1 or 2 in. It'll probably actually function more as a spiker than just as like a.
Yeah, I love how you have a monopoly on like spikes and T-spikes. Like you're gonna be winning the hazard game most of the time. I feel like.
I have 2 rocker. I have 3 spikers, 2 T-spikers, 2 defoggers, and 1 spinner. So I got pretty good hazard control going on.
Yeah, the hazard game is yours in 90% of matchups.
I do share the sentiment that my team is slow and it's I'm reliant on Unburden for sweeping, which is frustrating and a little scary.
It's just a really weird mix of mons for Hawlucha to be a part of.
Yeah. My hypothesis is that Hawlucha this gen is because it has a lot better move pool, but I could see that also just not being the case, and it ends up being not very good outside of the unburdened sweeping sets. But I'm hoping it just works as flying fighting is nearly unresisted stab. It has a good speed tier on it, and it has a good move set, so you can run a number of sets. But that's the theory we haven't seen yet.
We hitting Greg?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yo, Zen, tell us why there's a Conch Elder.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, dude. I remember like round 2, like right after he got it, he was just like in the chat, he was like, "Yeah, I basically only got Conch for fucking ups, dude. Like honestly, that thing is threatening." I was like, I mean, I guess you're right. They're true, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's literally just one matchup.
I love Conch Elder. I just want to come out and say it.
Broken.
I love it.
My boy Pac is obsessed with I mean, he hates Conquilor because it's just like the most broken thing ever in Gen 6 UU. It just infinitely knocks off on everything.
Who in Gen 6 UU innovated CB Focus Punch?
I have no idea. Probably Pac.
I feel like it's a Pac design. Yeah, Greg, please bring CB Focus Punch, Greg, if you're listening.
Is the king of Gen 6 UU.
I think Greg also has a pretty good balance team. I think he can do a lot of things with all of his mods. I think it's weird. He has a lot of single type mods. That's not a complaint you would hear a lot in the draft, but I mean, like, it is something that you have to keep in mind is that they kind of.
Yeah, he's got pure fire, pure psychic, pure fighting, pure electric. That's pure water too.
So,
I mean, like isn't bad.
Pure water, Migos.
Yeah, he's missing out on a lot of the typing wheel. I will say that much, because he has a lot of single typing. Then he also has some typing redundancies. But I think it's pretty good. I think he's got a lot of mons that can swing in multiple directions. But really, that's mainly his first 4. I mean, after that, it kind of starts to get a lot more one-dimensional, and you kind of know what's going on every single week.
He's got intimidates, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have very good hazard control. Doesn't he have to use like defog Decidueye?
He has a grounded poison, defog Decidueye, and defog Frostmop.
Yeah.
Which are all pretty unreliable.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, he doesn't have a ghost type.
Wait, does he have a ground immunity? really
doesn't
doesn't.
have immunity. Doesn't have an electric.
He has some resistances, but I don't know.
Yeah, no electric resist.
Yep.
Yeah.
No immunity.
Uh,
yeah, I mean,
You
I don't know.
you can make
I feel like something like full turn will kind of just run this guy over. Not even just because he has no electric immunity. I mean, obviously that's like the main thing, but like he just doesn't have any. He doesn't even really have anything that's like bulky enough to like eat those hits.
Yeah.
It's like a weird like every comp will have is will 100% BBO, but since he doesn't have electric immunity, he just doesn't really have the room to like to have like I don't know BO without electric immunity is just so like suicidal. I feel like he'll only really do well against the.
Especially because a lot of his threats are slow. Necros, Marcop, Arcanine.
He might do decently against like the bulkier like Lou. He might do decently against Lou. He might do decently against.
I think that's why I like his draft. Just because I think it scares me because I think he has a pretty good matchup. But I could definitely see him getting absolutely run over by some of the more offensive teams.
Yeah.
Can't Bolton be an electric immunity in a pinch? It does get Volt Absorb.
Does it get Bolton?
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure of that.
I was thinking about that, but I was like, I don't think
it absolutely does not, Brian.
No Volt Absorb. Never mind. Never mind.
And then competitive.
Delete me from the VOD.
I mean, hey, IPA admin is out there. I know there's none. Does Bolton get competitive even though it's not released yet?
Yeah, you can use competitive Bolton.
Okay, so he's got 2 defog blockers.
Yeah, but what the competitive Bolton? Get out of here.
He's got 90 special attack and 90 physical attack, so in theory, it's just as good as physical.
I guess, but you gotta look at the coverage too. Are we done? Are we done with Greg or?
Yeah. I feel like that's all that needs to be said.
Set in.
I mean, you guys go to town. So whatever you
can't get 3 water types and expect me to not say anything. I mean, I think the 3 water types they all do different things, but they're 3 draft slots. I mean, that are not.
They all do completely different things. I was thinking about with the lantern pick. I was like, I mean, like, because I don't know, like, I really don't. Lantern's 100% defensive on. Like, all 3 of them are so like interchangeable too. Like they do different things, but they also kind of overlap to some extent. To where and I have 10 mods. Like I didn't like not finish my draft. Like I think there's like so many options. Like Pre-Marine alone can be so many different things. Like people don't even realize. Like it could be like a breaker, there's like a raw breaker, or it can be like a defensive mon.
I think
Lantern was mainly for like a pivot and like a core with Venusaur, like Lantern and Venusaur. I had in mind with like a pivot on like BO such balance. I really liked. While the other 2 like Primo and Mirac will pretty much be like mainly on BO and offense, while Lantern will be on like the bulkier variants.
I think that while all the water types and the electric types for the most part do different things, I think there's enough overlap where you could have consolidated some of them and gotten extra draft picks to fit out the rest of your.
The thing is, I would agree, but looking at the roster of mons, like I thought like for quite a while about the last like 4 picks. Like I thought a lot. The fucking roster of Pokemon just sucks. Like I really gave me anything more than the things I got. Like I looked for so long, and I was just like, damn, everything sucks. Like literally all these things just suck.
I think it's your fastest mon by like a mile, and I don't think it's. I think it's pretty bad this gen. I mean, it does get knocked off, but I think losing Pursuit and to an extent losing any moves is a pretty big hindrance. But it still has
already in like several viable scarfers though, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's still a good ice shard set, but I feel like kind of the best thing about Weavile can kind of be done half-assed by Lucario. So like it kind of feels like that's another.
Lucario's way better than Weavile.
Yeah, I think that's another pick that could have really been consolidated. It feels like it might take up more team building space than it like.
This is not an indictment or a forecast or anything. I just I remember having a draft with Weavile and Lucario once, and like I don't know, I had like no defensive backbone, so it went really badly. It looks like you at least have a defensive backbone to speak of, so good Shabbos and props to you on that. I like Mudsdale a lot. I think Mudsdale,
Muzdale's pretty good.
especially with body press now, like
I think it's fucking miles better than Santaconda at least.
yeah.
Muzdale's like shit on Santaconda, and it was got drafted like 3 rounds later.
Yeah.
I think you were able to. What a lot of the more offensive teams weren't able to do. I think you were able to patch up your resistances pretty well. There's nothing. It's not like you don't have a flying resist or you don't have a fighting or ground. I mean, there's a lot of teams that actually just don't have a single resistance to anything, and that's not the case. I mean, you got like 2 good fairy resists. You got some.
You got 2 ground immunities and a Mudsdale, which is basically a ground, basically an earthquake switch in.
You've got 2 electric immunities and 2 resists. I think for the most part, what makes this offense maybe a little more viable than a lot of the other offenses we've seen is that it does actually carry there is more typing synergy, which is kind of weird given there's actually a lot of typing redundancy, but like the resistances are there. I mean, it kind of works.
Also, water is it's a fucking broken typing. If it was a different typing, I think like having 3 water types is like.
I'd rather have 2 waters.
If you had like 3 fire types, that would be malpractice. Yeah.
Water's pretty good. I understand water spam fairly decently, and it's not even water.
Actually, fighting spam is really good too. It's really good if you have flying resist.
Wonder who that's directed at.
With the fighting types, like for example, like steel types plus fighting type in general, not just because of the flying resist, but also fairy resist. And like shit like Hydreigon can be checked in unison with like if you have a steel type plus a fighting type. You can check shit like Hydreigon, but yeah. So fighting spam is pretty good. At least not 3 of them, like 2 of them maybe, but yeah.
Cool. Zen, do you have a?
Noticed this, by the way. I don't have a single type redundancy on my entire team. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even.
Redundancy is something you think about a lot, and you're like, dang, like this sucks. I have 2 steel types or 2 water types or 2 blank types, but in reality, it's really not that big of a deal. It really depends on the team or like what you're up against.
I mean, it just depends on what the Mons are able to do. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 3 water types if you all can do a good job of checking things and you're not weak to grass or electric. I mean, then it doesn't really matter. But
before we wrap up, do you have a favorite draft?
Mine.
Right, naturally. Should have guessed.
I think mine shit's on everybody. And I think I'm a better player than all of you, and I'm winning this entire thing. But outside of mine, Cursi's pretty good. Tristan, like I said, the entire draft, I was looking at Tristan's team, and I was like, holy shit, that is terrifying. I don't know why he got Ditto in that stick guy, but so outside of those 2, I think Tristan's is incredible.
Well, there you have it, folks.
I think if he allocated his points better.
say your favorite?
No, mine is I already said mine. Remember?
Yeah,
Jarrett.
but the same again. We're at the end of the video.
Oh yeah, just to remind people, Zenon is the Stephen A. Smith of draft predictions, and Jarrett is my favorite draft. Lou, what about you?
I think for me it's between Rye and Jarrett. That's my favorite draft.
For sure.
And
all right.
I do like Alex.
It's still fucking Norvin from me. What a fucking asshole. Norvin is so good. Norvin's gonna shit on all of us, honestly.
I think that's definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this this video.
My Patreon, subscribe to my premium Snapchat.
Yeah, subscribe to my OnlyFans page, my Patreon, my Gab, my Minds account. Yeah. Bye bye.